You are tuned in to the number one recap show, the best damn recap show for the United Football League. It is right here on United Football Media. It is Tell Me About It, brought to you by DAR Sports Media. If you like what we do, pop our name up in the YouTube page after you check out all the great shows here on the United Football Media. DAR Sports Media. We are halfway into this UFL season. It kicked off today, the second half of the season, and we had a bunch of big statements made by teams trying to show us who we are. The one first and foremost is going to be at number one on everybody's power rankings, and damn well should be. The Michigan Panthers laying a whooping on the former number one DC Defenders, 38-14. The DC Defenders, we've seen how good they can be. We've seen that they can beat everybody. But, man, they love to do some stupid, sloppy things at stupid and sloppy times. And that was the beginning of their undoing this week, as Braylon Sanders makes one of the most boneheaded, lazy, idiotic plays I've ever seen in my life, catching the ball inches away from the first down. He did not even need to stretch for it. All he had to do was put his arm out, and he would have had the first in the first quarter. Doesn't do that. Has zero awareness of where he's at on the field and what the situation is. It turns into 4th and inches. DC Defenders get stopped. Michigan Panthers go 95 yards on a march down the field, score a touchdown, and it was downhill. It was a downward spiral after that. The Michigan Panthers end up with 250 nearly total rushing yards. That, and from watching the game, the level of mistackling, the poor angles, the undisciplined play, that is a tired, beaten up defense. And it all started right there with that massive mental error that gave the Panthers a 95-yard drive. But none of this should overshadow, and nothing for the rest of the season, thanks to his coach, Mike Nolan, finally handing him the full reins of the starter spot. Nothing will overshadow Bryce Perkins for the rest of this season. This guy, to me, is the head and shoulders above the MVP candidate right now. Had every single week, he's 70% completion. He's running the ball. And now, the last 2 weeks, he's out there doing whatever he wants. He looks like he's in a high school game. Highlight reel play after highlight reel play. Stiff arming pass rushers, juking people downfield, throwing a no-look touchdown pass as he did today. He is the guy in this league, and I have been saying for weeks, as soon as the Michigan Panthers stop beating themselves and stop wasting opportunity after opportunity in these games, they are going to be one of the best, if not the best team in the league. And they showed the potential of what they could be today. An aggressive defense that was taking advantage of every single opening, and an offense led by a supernova star on the other side. Not to forget Tawatoa, almost 100 yards rushing, 5 yards a carry. Perkins himself was 9 yards a carry, 3 total touchdowns, nearly 300 total yards. Just an incredible game. The talented crew of receivers they got up there, at receiver, Sayo Seamer, Malik Turner, both did an awesome job today as well. Toa almost 100 yards rushing. They got it all, man, and they got one of the best, two of the best defensive players in the league on the other side. Breland Speaks, Frank Ginda. They're well on their way. Thoughts, Tay?
Yeah, the Panthers definitely proved themselves this week. I mean, they have their case for the best team in the league, and Bryce Perkins, he should be everyone's MVP right now. You know, he's third in passing yards, 8th in rushing yards. You know, he's just doing everything for his team right now, despite them trying to play 2 quarterbacks and, you know, just mess up the flow of things. So even with that, kind of reminds me of AJ Martinez from last year, kind of going through the same things, you know, didn't play all the games and stuff like that, you know, dual threat. So, Bryce Perkins, he's just been playing excellent all season long, and defenders just couldn't keep up. I mean, the Panthers just kept it going. They did not take their foot off the gas. They scored every single quarter. They were getting a lot of stops. They ran the ball whenever they wanted. If you can run the ball, the rest of your offense is wide open. So the Panthers completely dominated, and yeah, they 100% deserve to win that.
Before we move on, quick shout to our guy, man, Chris Rowland. My goodness.
Oh yeah,
9 catches, 144 yards and a touchdown. He did all that he could.
mm-hmm.
In the end, it just wasn't that. I do want to bring up real quick. It was a key play in the game. I'm going to start saying to professors and things like that in any class that I ever take, if we can get marked down on something on the paper, you have to show it to us in class, i.e. formatting. If you're allowed to mark us down for it, we need to be shown how to do it. And I feel like that's how many pro wide receivers feel about running pick plays and running wide receiver screens, because they are getting penalized for it because they look like they just have never done it before. I don't know why this is a complex. I just don't understand why you think as a receiver, let me go out there and just slam directly into the DB and not even try to make it look like at all like I'm trying to run a route. Like, just run out there like you're hitting a blocking sled. That took a touchdown off the board for the Panthers temporarily. Why? Why does that happen all the time? You have to make it look like you're running a route. You cannot just go. The reason this is such a sore subject with me, it stood out to me today, is because I'm a big, on the NFL side, I'm a big 49ers fan. 49ers love those kinds of plays, but continuously get penalties while running. So it's one of those things. They're great when they work, but they require such a level of discipline from the people who are running the play that it's a kind of a really big roll of the dice whether it's going to work out or not, because for some reason all of these receivers act like they've never done it before. It's just boggles my mind. I don't know what to say about it. Michigan Panthers, huge win. They're on top of the league for sure. I would say the next two teams in most people's power rankings, although those stinky Birmingham fans might have something to say about this, but Arlington and St. Louis had a gritty battle on Friday night. It made me sad. I was like, man, we're back to the chunky Friday night games being back all of a sudden. Battlehawks win 12-6, a rare poor game for Luis Perez. Max Duggan not looking too much better. 37% completion. Oh my goodness gracious. But once again, the Battlehawks run defense really comes through. Their defense made a bunch of huge plays. A lot of studs on their defense. I'm not sure either team. There's two ways to look at it. You could look at both teams that maybe they feel good coming out of this game because they think both of these teams are really good, near the top of the league, or maybe both teams are looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, "Oh, we got some work to do," because this was not a pretty game on Friday night. What are your thoughts, man? Arlington Battlehawks.
Yeah, this was definitely a defensive game. This was just about just get the win. It wasn't a lot of big plays going on and a lot of big runs. It was a lot of chunk plays, short plays. Yeah, I mean they were just playing defense, going back and forth, playing a field possession game, trying to get field goals. I mean, there was only one touchdown in this game, so you like to have this one if you're the Battlehawks. You don't want to lose like one of these old school games. So if you're gonna have one of these defensive games, you want to win. But yeah, you definitely go into practice like you want to improve on offense. Like let's try to score somewhere in the 20s. Because you're not gonna win every week scoring 12 points. So the Battlehawks, they won, but they didn't play their best game. So but you'll take the win.
Yeah, they'll take the win, but I'm telling you, against the class of the league, against DC, against Michigan, 39% and one touchdown ain't going to get it done, brother. That's just not going to. And this is this team is little with stars elsewhere. But you hope they're going to figure it out. I told you guys I had a sneaking suspicion that things were about to change down in Houston. And they certainly did. No one saw it, but the Houston Roughnecks are putting themselves in a position they are nipping at the heels of the other two teams at the top of the USFL conference, getting another win, a hard-fought 1-point victory, real fun game on Saturday, 21-20. Jalen McClendon, once again, 72% a touchdown. You'd like to see a little bit more yardage, but definitely did more than enough to get the job done. The Roughnecks, an ascending team. Showboats, again, showed improvement. There were some bright spots. Dresser win, looking like he's really cemented himself in this job, although a huge mistake by him late sealed the deal in this game. But Roughnecks ascending, and from what we've seen, out of, I don't know, I got hopes. I'd like for some things to get mixed up here this year. Roughnecks, Boats, what do you got there for me, Tay? Tell me about it.
The Roughnecks have completely turned around their season.
Yeah.
They're stringing together a win streak, and they took advantage of a Showboats team who was trying to find their identity. Roughnecks got up early and almost blew the game, but they came toward the end and they held on. But the Roughnecks, they're creeping, into the playoffs. Like they're right there. So I mean, we'll see if they win next week. We'll find out in a couple minutes, but they look a lot different. After the QB change and whatnot, they look a completely different team. I feel like they finally found their groove. They know how they want to play. So, shout out to the Roughnecks. They're back in playoff contention.
Not too much to say about our last game of the week, other than, I was laughing about it in the UFM Discord. I said, DC, gosh damn it. At the end of the season, the Brahmas point differential is going to be 6,000 to 50. But DC decided to go out there and hand them 500 penalty yards and play like crap. And now that loss is going to be, and the Brahmas did what they were supposed to do in that game. It is what it is. But that one loss is kind of looming large now, because it's so all three teams, on the XFL side are real close. Battlehawks 4-2, Defenders 4-2, Renegades 3-3. Luckily for the Defenders, they beat both of those teams. But record-wise, it's getting real tight, and it's because DC decided to let themselves be the only team that didn't lay a brutal butt spanking on these Brahmas. The Brahmas, almost in impressive fashion, ended up with -1 yards in the fourth quarter, 178 for the game. Just not what you want to see. Stallions, did everything that they were supposed to do. Case Cookus and Andrew Peasley, who got a little bit of action today, both look pretty good, pretty efficient. This Brahmas pass protection just could not do anything whatsoever with this Stallions front seven. So, Stallions front seven looks good. Both the quarterbacks look pretty good. Stallions rounding into form just a bit here. Take care of business. Whip the Brahmas 26-3. It was not that close in watching it. What are your thoughts on this one, Tay? I don't imagine there will be too much.
Yeah. The Stallions, this is exactly what you want. This is their best game of the season. Both sides of the ball played their game. The Stallions defense absolutely shut down the Brahmas offense. They did nothing outside of a second quarter field goal. So yeah, I mean the Brahmas struggled. It's been the same thing the whole year. They just haven't found their groove, and I don't think they will. So I mean, they were supposed to lose this game, but not by 23. You never want to get blown out. You never want to lose by a lot. So it's not really a good look for the Brahmas. You don't want to continuously get blown out like this. Like that's not how it should go. Stallions were better than them, but you got to put up a fight. And just from the first quarter going forward, like they just didn't really. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about the Brahmas. They just did not play a good game overall. Stallions, they did their thing. So in a nice easy week for the Stallions.
So we are getting on into the wire. This is crunch time, week 7. Coming up next, defenders have a chance to show whether it was a fluke or not against the Brahmas. They will be going into the Brahmas house. This is a perfect time to exorcise those demons, to make up for the terrible game that they played at home, play against the team that, might be starting to look for the quit button a little bit here, given the way that the season is going and given how many times they've rolled over and gotten whooped throughout the season, and coming off of a wake-up call against the Panthers where they themselves got their butts beat and outclassed against who is, I think, what we all need to recognize right now, the best team in the league and the league MVP. So this is a perfect opportunity for a get-right game for the DC Defenders, but they got to be careful, man, as we saw the first time that they played. DC Defenders at San Antonio Brahmas, Friday night, 8 o'clock. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I got the Defenders in this one. I don't think they want to lose 2 in a row, especially getting blown out in the prior week. Yeah, Brahmas just haven't been a good football team yet. They did win the first go around, but I don't think it would be like that this time. I don't know. The Brahmas just haven't been impressive, and just don't see them beating the Defenders twice. So I got the Defenders maybe by about 10. It should look a little better, like maybe 25-15 or something like that. But yeah, I will go with the Defenders here.
Moving on to Saturday, 1 o'clock on Fox. Interesting crossroads matchup here. Panthers, Renegades. The Renegades, if they come out and they give the performance that they gave against the Battlehawks, they are going to get trash bagged in this game.
Yeah.
But is this Michigan, we don't beat ourselves, we actually catch in on opportunities now? Is that version of the Panthers for real? Are they here to stay? They have a great opportunity to give us that answer coming up on Saturday. So a crossroads game for both. Are the Panthers going to show that this championship level of a team that they showed themselves to finally be? Are they here to stay? Can Arlington get the ship right? Can they clean up their act? Or are they going to sink further out of playoff contention in this league? What are your thoughts on Arlington Panthers, Tay?
Yeah, I got the Panthers in this one. Renegades haven't looked too good as of recent. They just been playing their absolute worst. Not really putting up many points. And I see a win streak going for the Panthers. I like how Bryce Perkins has been playing all year. I feel like you have him on the field, you have a great chance of winning. So it's gonna be hard for me to not pick the Panthers like going forward. They're red hot right now. So
Arlington, you could not beat a team who had a quarterback who threw for 39% last week.
Yeah.
Bryce Perkins isn't throwing for 39%.
Exactly.
So it's going to be tough. You better get it together. You better lock it in and pack a lunch. Get up early. As you alluded to, my game of the week, even more than the DC game, DC Revenge Tour. Stallions, Roughnecks. Need everybody to be out there cheering for the little guy. It'll be at Birmingham, noon, ABC. Roughnecks will pull into a tie for the second playoff spot if they can beat the Stallions at home. Tay, are they going to be able to pull it off?
That would be hilarious.
No, they're not going to be able to. Stallions are kind of looking like the Stallions again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would be surprised. I really want it to happen, but
the Roughnecks, they just need to worry about playing a good game. Usually they play these good teams, they get blown out. It's not good. They turn the ball over a bunch. they need to show they can at least hang. If they can hang, they'll be okay, like going forward. So I do have the Stallions, but the Roughnecks should put up a fight. Like I see like a close game. So I would say like 23-20. Yeah, I think the Roughnecks can hang though.
So, David will sling the rock and try to bring down Goliath, and it'll be close. It'll just not
Yeah,
quite get the job done.
It'll be close.
Man, it would be so interesting to see Panthers and Roughnecks in the playoff instead
That'd
of
be hilarious.
the same old. But I think it's just a little bit too much as we would enjoy how interesting it would be.
Yeah.
And then our final, man, these Sunday afternoon stinkers, Battlehawks at Showboats. Boy, that's going to be an interesting crowd attendance number off of that one. Yeah. At Showboats Sunday afternoon, after the Showboats are 1-5 with Big Dog St. Louis rolling into town. I don't really see any way that. I mean, the Showboats were scrappy this week, and the Battlehawks look pretty sloppy, pretty dirty, not exciting. So maybe. What do you think? Think it's a maybe, right?
Yeah, it's a maybe, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Showboats have been. They've been like they're 1-5, yes, but like I feel like early on they were in a couple of games with some better teams in the league. So this could be one of them. This definitely could be one of them. The Battlehawks, I feel like this will be like a easy week for them. I think they'll be able to run the ball on the Showboats well, so they won't really have to pass it that much. So yeah, I would go with the Battlehawks though. They need this one. You can't lose to teams that you're better than. So yeah, they'll be okay. The Battlehawks will be okay. They'll play much better than they did last week. They'll score more than 12 points. Yeah, so I'll go with the Battlehawks over the Showboats.
A big week coming down to the wire. Some playoff implications really starting to rear their heads here. Huge game, crucial game down there, Roughnecks, Stallions. So we hope you check all that out. Check out all the other stuff that's going on United Football Media. Of course, Battle Talk is back. I'm sure Noah will be covering what he hopes improves and what's coming up this week about the Battlehawks. Our man FBI Tugboat better be crowing, honking the horn on the tugboat after his Panthers have now ascended to the number 1 spot in the power rankings after a big-time beatdown of the former number 1 bully on the block, the DC Defenders. Brahma bullpen, of course, going to be very interesting stuff this week. Seeing them go through a season like this instead of a successful underdog punching people in the mouth type season like they had last year. I'll be interested to see their thoughts on this week, with Houston on the rise. Ace should be back. He got picked to got picked to go test a new type of cereal that Captain Crunch is putting out, and he is back from that. So hopefully Houston the Roughnecks rundown will be back this week, and we can be excited. This will be 1 week of excitement if they lose. 1 week of excitement for the Roughnecks, with a possible playoff tie on the line for them going against the big dogs of the league, than Birmingham Stallions. So Roughnecks rundown should be killer this week. As I mentioned earlier, DAR Sports Media is where we're at. Right now we're covering NBA playoffs. We're covering NFL draft, getting ready to cover NFL offseason grades. So if you like what we do here, check us out over there as well after you check out all the fine offerings here on United Football Media. This is the best damn United Football League recap show. It is. Tell me about it.